Okay, hi everyone. So my name is Noshaza Amalina bint Abdul Ghani. You can call me Amalina. So as for today, I will present to all of you about insecurity is a billion-dollar business. Okay, as per introduction, I just really to double check with everyone. So do you think that we are actually not enough? So this kind of question basically is not simple to answer or even actually not simple to understand because everyone we think that we are actually enough. But truth to be told, if we are really enough, why do we need so much things in our life? Why do we need fancy clothes? Why do we need fancy car? Why do we need to put on makeup? Why do we need even to get a deodorant instead of just a soap? Why do we need to get a hair gel or hairspray? So because of the things that we buy on daily basis, actually it can really reveal that we as a human being, there are so many things that we need, especially like you and me, where we have a career to maintain, we have a dream to pursue. So the next question would be, from all this insecurity or from all the needs and wants that we have as a consumer, who actually benefits from insecurity? All right, so to a simple answer is definitely the corporations. Let me tell you about the business and human psychology relation. So basically, insecurity is actually manufactured. As much as we want to believe or we don't want to believe, that insecurity is actually manufactured. By that said, is it actually planned and planted deep inside our mind? Not just one day or 1 month or 1 year, it's actually for decades. It's even been planned since we are kids. So the insecurity is actually drive consumer behavior, and we are actually the target for the corporations. So let me explain some more. So in psychology, insecurity is a self-doubt. It is linked to identity and self-worth and easily influenced. So in psychology, insecurity refers to the lack of confidence and uncertainty about one's self-worth. When we talk about insecurity, so I want to highlight the main point here is the uncertainty. So when we are being uncertain about self-worth, this is where the insecurity can grow, or even actually some people got not so much insecurity, some people got a very huge insecurity, and this is actually being reflected and depends on how much uncertainty that you have as an individual. Okay, the next one, when we talk about the business framework that majority people will understand. So it's simple. The framework is one, it starts from a problem where the corporation can decide to create that problem, and then they sell solution, and this cycle will repeat. So if I want to talk about in general, maybe you will not have any idea what I'm talking about. So let me give an example. I want to talk about one of the things that we consume a lot since we are baby, which is milk. So how corporations created problems using milk. So before, long ago, like our ancestors like 1,000 years ago, milk already exists, but not in the form that we are consuming right now. So milk from 1,000 years ago, it come directly from the cow. So they simply being processed in the kitchen and then being consumed by human being, like you and me, if we are living 1,000 years ago. But nowadays, suddenly the system is different. So how we can get milk on our table? So basically, it comes from the farm, which is supervised by the corporation, and then it will be processed in the factory, package, and of course, all this process is fully aware by the corporations who are selling milk. So in simple word, the milk that being consumed 1,000 years ago is not as simple the milk that we consume on daily basis right now, because number one, mostly that we consume is UHT milk. It is processed under a very high temperature, so the form of the milk already changed. And then so what we're consuming right now is actually the mix of milk and a few other chemical and so on. All right, so when they sell solution to our problems, for example, some people, they will consume milk and then get bloated. This is where we will get the solution from corporation as well, on how we can tackle our stomachache problem. So basically, the business framework, in a simple word, is as problem, and we got solution, and later come profits. And this cycle will be repeated over and over again. But if we, so right now I want to bring all you guys from the lens of a business owner. Like as you guys know that I do a business as well. So let me try to bring you from my perspective, from what I can see. Okay, so first, as business owner, what we try to understand in the market is we try to see the underlying problem, and then what is the problem above that, and after that we will give you solution. We will give the consumer the solution, but the solution that we give, it comes with a package. The solution that we give is not simply gonna solve everything. It comes with side effects, if I may use the term. And because of this simple solution come with some simple side effects, so you will need, as consumer, you will need other things so that you can solve the other problems that you have, so that you can achieve the ideal outcome. Okay, so let me give an example. In simple word, I want to talk about the beauty industry. As we have beauty products everywhere, the men or women, we all have the products in our house. So as for beauty industry, in 2026, it's already worth 500 billion USD. And this number come from aesthetics and of course the beauty products as well. So as I am in my 30s, so when for anyone who already exceed the age 20, so we will have the problem of aging, for example. So one of the solution being marketed in the product is retinol, where we are being sold as a consumer, we're being told that we need retinol so that we can slow down the aging, so that we can fix our skin. It would be less saggy, less wrinkles and so on. But this retinol that being in the market actually comes with another problem, which is purging. Okay. So when purging happens, you will need other products to tackle the purging problem. So instead of you just buy one product, you will need additional product to basically get a flawless skin, the ideal result, the beauty, which is fit beauty standards. Okay. So as we all know, different brands and target approaches, different brands got different approaches, right? So this one, it depends on either the target market is on the lower ends, or is it the middle class, which is the working class, or the high ends, because different classes will have different needs, will have different problems, and they will have different priorities. And so the business, they will add more strategy. For example, if in fashion industry, for the high end, they will not just put in clothes for the sake of covering their body or for the sake of protecting themselves from the weather. It will be more about reputation and so on. So that's the same goes to automobile. For different classes of people, for the lower end, they will just need a car to move from point A to point B. Where the higher end people, they will need more than just from point A to point B. They will need a different thing, maybe a better car or more superior car, just to position themselves, to portray themselves where they stand in the social hierarchy. But apart from all of this, so right now we are asking ourselves, what are the solutions? So there are 3 steps. Basically, if I can put in simple form, number 1, we need to understand the underlying problems, not just the problem, but the underlying problem. For example, if we have an aging skin, that is a problem. But the underlying problem beneath that aging skin is actually ourself, our acceptance toward ourselves. Okay, and that is the actual problem where we don't feel okay to accept our own beauty standard, and then we need to tackle the actual problem. If the actual problem is about self-love or self-worth, that is where the target area should be, not the problem on top of the skin. So how we can tackle the actual problem is by doing study and research. We need to compare and survey basically what product or what services that we need to consume. And lastly, you need to understand you have a big power as a consumer actually. Like we have like a very very powerful thing in our hand, which is our choices and decisions. The truth, the actual truth is, it's not the corporations that doesn't need us. It's actually the corporation need us because as consumer we are giving them the money. Okay, so the power is actually in your hand as consumers, where you can choose what actually deserve your energy and your money. So as a conclusion, in here what we have to do is actually self-reflections. When we self-reflect, what is actually our problem? Do we need this thing just to feed our ego, or do we need this thing because we cannot live without it? And then we need to identify our short-term goals and long-term goals. What are our goals in this life? What we are looking for? For example, if we go to work every day, so we want to go to work actually to earn money and able to buy assets later. So instead of we focus on the short-term goals, which many people do is they go to work. When they receive money, they will buy clothes and shoes to go to work. And they go to work, they receive money, and they buy things that they need to go to work. So that is not actually a very good idea to stick to. So with that said, we must put on strategy how we want to earn more, or how we want to navigate through life, or how we want to choose which thing that we need to purchase and so on. And lastly, whatever we do, it should be serving our life purpose. So the life purpose is actually not to have like all this fancy stuff, or not to have the distractions. For example, like consuming distractions like unrelated activities like drugs or any harmful things, but it's actually to serve our purpose in life. If we want a really true life, or we want to serve the community, that should be our priority, not on consuming things that we don't actually need. So that's all for today, and thank you so much.